In the summer of 2008, a visionary Russian director named Timur, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, made his North American debut with a movie called Wanted. This movie blew my mind from its loser to super assassin story to its great effects. This movie hit all the marks for me. I would always get excited whenever Timur's name would pop up during a movie trailer, but I was a little disappointed only to find out he was just a producer. So when I found out that he would actually be directing again, I got really excited, except he ended up making this movie. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. So when Abraham Lincoln, played by Benjamin Walker in this, was a boy, his mother was killed by a vampire. When he grew up, he was determined to avenge her. He happens to come across a vampire hunter played by Dominic Cooper that trains him. And then he begins a life of killing vampires in hopes of building his way up to the one that killed his mom, while also developing into the man that we know as our 16th president. Silly premise, right? But hey, it was a book that someone saw enough potential in to make into a movie, and I figured you could at least have some fun with it. But just no. From the pacing to the script to some of the directions this movie went into to the ridiculous slow-mo to some of the ties this movie makes with actual history, this movie really falls apart from the get-go. I mean, I'm not even sure where to begin. Like, the beginning is just rushed. Like, Lincoln sucks, and he kind of sucks at life. Like, he's drunk, he's sloppy, he's being stupid. 10 minutes later, they have this chopping down trees with a single slice, trolling an axe like it's nothing. I normally love this kind of character development when you have like a loser that slowly becomes great. That way you can just finally get to that point where you just see him taking down everybody and it's so great. But they rush through it so fast, you don't feel his growth at all. So when he's actually fighting and being awesome, you don't care. And it's not even remotely engaging. And like even the montages aren't really montages. Like he's just twirling his axe in different scenes. He eventually meets Mary Todd, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and the way their relationship develops is just, it honestly just goes from him killing a vampire to him being on a date with her. He also has two sidekicks played by Anthony Mackie and Jimmy Simpson. They back him up when needed, and at times they get to do some of Abe's impossible stunts. But I'll get to those later. But of course, if you're going to see this movie, you're really in it for the action, but that's also a huge flaw in the movie. They slow-mo everything, and I say this as a person that actually likes Zack Snyder's use of slow motion. The axe twirling's a given. They're going to do it regardless, so I'm not even going to complain. But they do it on other things that are just so unnecessary, and the thing is, the movie literally forgets that our protagonists are humans with no established super abilities mentioned. But they have this guy hopping from train cart to even the more ridiculous hopping from moving horse to moving horse, which is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. And despite everything you see this guy do that's beyond impossible, I was supposed to believe that by the end of all this, he goes to a play and gets shot in the head by just a normal guy. And then it gets even worse with some of the Civil War scenes that were just overly CG'd messes. Like, there's a scene towards the end involving Mary Todd Lincoln and a vampire, and just the moment between those two totally reminded me of when Lucy pulls the football away from Charlie Brown, except it's in slow motion and with real people. You actually have to watch this. Like, if I were to say anything nice about the movie, I'll say that the performances were pretty solid, especially Benjamin Walker when he actually got to become older Abe. But regardless, this movie sucks. The only movie that's made me this mad so far this year is The 5-Year Engagement. So for me, I didn't think I would go this low, but 1.5 out of 5. Don't see this. It will be a waste of your time whether you watch it in theaters, on DVD, or on HBO, or on an airplane. There's no reason to see this ever. If you like this review and you want to see more, please subscribe to see more.